Boom, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am trying to adjust this so that my picture's in the frame so you can see me and Master G. Okay, Spook Realm 4Q, you are, as usual, first in the building. PSA, if you are not a jive turkey, and I hope most of you watching this channel are not, it's coming up on Thanksgiving, you turkeys. Get off this channel, suckers. Then buy the epic true story. My brother's name is Kenny. The link is in the description below. I think I have a little cold today. We're going to push through. And please hit the like button if you get a chance. It helps the algorithm. I say it every week, and every week people ain't hitting the like button, but I'm going to keep on saying it, keep on saying it. And big up to the Rewind crew who's going to check this out later on in the week. Rewind crew is massive. Gregory Ness says, yo, Kenny, your name was mentioned on the excellent, let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see. Yo, Kenny, your name was mentioned on the excellent YouTube channel Celebrity Underrated. Yes, they did a mini documentary about Miss Melody. It's really good. Check it out. Rest in peace to original BDP member Miss Melody, former wife of KRS-One. And I was in her video. She has a video called Live on Stage. I believe it's the only video off of her album. And album was called Diva. And I remember at the time when she named the album Diva, I didn't even know what that meant. I asked her, what does diva mean? And she had to explain it to me. And I am in that video. So if you guys go back and get a chance to check out Live on Stage, I got a quick cameo where BDP crew sticks their head in. I haven't seen that video in decades, but I know I'm in it. And what I remember vividly about that video is that the hat that Miss Melody is wearing cost $2,000. I remember that because we was bugging. This is $2,000 in 1989 when that album came out. 89? 2089 is probably like 4,000 now. Wildin'. Yes, rest in peace, Miss Melody, and big up to her family. Big up to Harmony, her sister. I haven't seen these people in forever. Dre Stack Dollars, what's up? Rosmel, what's up? Jermaine Brown, Yale University in the house. Ivy League, let's go. Jermaine Brown says, yo, Kenny, would you like to interview MC Shan on your show? Yes, I would. I think it would turn into a rant fest, which is what he seems to be on lately. But I got some interesting questions for Shan. Absolutely, that'd be cool. Me and Shan has always been cool over the years. The times that I've seen him, he's always been cool. Corey Flex says, we don't need MC Shan in here. He's a clown and just wants to start fights. Well, I recognize all opinions. So he would definitely have a opposite opinion to the BDP opinion, and I'm open to hear what he has to say. Long as it's factual and he stays factual, absolutely. Jermaine says, yo, Kenny, it would be monumental if you got to interview both Shan and KRS, and numbers would go up crazy. Yeah, if I got to interview, yeah. Although KRS has done hundreds of interviews. But I feel, my own ego, that my interview with KRS would be different, obviously, because I have a lot of inside information and we have a different relationship. And there's questions that I want to ask him that no one has ever asked him. And I know some of the answers kind of already a framework, so I could tell where I want to go with it. Let me just say that. Um, we should have Chief Rocker Busy B up in here. Big up to Busy B. That would be dope. Uh, let's see. Corey Fletch says, Jermaine, we can't keep revisiting the bridge wars. By now, we've gotten all the details of the story. There's so many more KRS BDP stories we haven't heard. Let's keep it moving. No, everybody doesn't have the same um, hip hop knowledge or got all the stories as other people. That's the purpose of this channel, to exchange information. And that's why sometimes some people say that there's stories that I've repeated on this channel, but sometimes there's people on the channel who are new. Who are new to hip hop, even though they're older, don't know all the stories from different parts of the country and the world, and they don't know the whole story. So just because we know the story, please bear with the people who don't know, because there's stories that you might not know or I might not know that other people might not know that I would find interesting, even though other people might go, I already know this. I don't know it. So yeah, I'm down to, if you know, sometimes I repeat, but that's okay. Smooth T is Terrence Hill. Oh man, YouTube is still jacking people up, man. Wow. Wow. Supreme Divine, what up? Napoleon Maddox, what's good, my brother? MK Ultra, 123. The crew is called BDP. A lot of regulars in here tonight. Ilroy the MC. Um, let's see. Explicit DMC. Um, let's see. Joey Joe, what up? MMA, what up? Buford Jones, what's good, Kenny? Finally, he says, finally a show night. I'm not working. Ah, good. You're not part of the Rewind crew. Welcome to the live. We got to call it the live crew? Oh, man. John Walker, what up? Um, DJ Kenny, any stories about Sway and Tech and the collab KRS had with them for the morning wide wake up show anthem? No, I was not. As a matter of fact, that was a dope video, man. Incredible video at that time. I had nothing. I was not around for that. I saw the video just like everybody else. Big up to Sway Z, my brother, Sway in the morning. Big up to Heather B. Reluctantly, I say big up to Heather B and Sway in the morning. Um, no, I have no stories about that. I was not there at all. John Walker says, hit the like button, please. Flowetry, what up? Missed you. You haven't been here in a few weeks. Rod Justice, Hip Hop, Jack Swagger, peace, peace. Kenny should wear a costume on Friday. Friday is Halloween. I'm not really into Halloween. Um, that's funny. I didn't even realize that. A costume would be funny. Uh, Platform, what up? Hey, Kenny, much love from Canada. You excited for the new Big L and Ransom DJ Premier albums dropping Friday? I didn't know Big L was dropping Friday. Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't had a chance to really sit down and listen to a lot of people's albums. I've been working on my own music, so haven't really had a chance to sit down and listen, but I need to. Falling behind. A lot of good stuff coming out. The Real Chef Daddy, what up? Jack Swagger, R.I.P. Mr. Melody, the Born Again Rebel. Mr. York, Northeast Bronx is here. That is such a wild name for you. Rosmel says, so Versus is back. Let's see Latifah versus Light. That would be so dope. That would be so dope. I'd like to see a friendly versus. I always say, I liked um the early verses when they were more of like a team before it became on stage, when they were more like in an intimate setting and they were more like friends. I didn't like the battle part. When it turned into like who won and all that stuff. That's just me. Um, E Style 74, what's up? Um, Anthony August, what up? Says salute Kenny. Since they just started back with the verses, who do you think would be a good one? I say Rakim versus Slick Rick. What do you think? They both had classic first albums, and they came out around the same time. I think that would be real dope. I don't think Rakim was interested in verses, or he wasn't, because the verses with KRS and Kane, I believe, was supposed to be Kane and Rakim. And Rakim either denied or backed out or whatever the case, and then KRS was put in a place. It was supposed to have been Kane and Rakim, as I understand it. Abel Valdez, what's up? Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Really appreciate it. Says peace, Kenny. Peace to the crew. Just wanted to show some love. And let me show some love right back to you. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate it, man. It really helps the channel out a lot. JT in the building. KP, this is Daynell LaDawn Freeman. And was Karis really taking shots at Ice Cube on Like a Throttle? I can't comment on that. Um, I'm gonna leave that like that. I'm not gonna comment on that. B Fred, Boogie Down in the house. Sue Crump says, don't forget to big up the Mass Hole crew. I gotta start doing that because, like I said, I love that name, the Mass Holes. I can't believe I've lived all of these years and have never heard the term mass holes until a couple weeks ago. Platform says, hey, Kenny, RIP, the poster boy from Harlem. Yeah, I think I saw that. He was a battle rapper that won 106 in Park battle raps, I think. Um, yeah, I think I saw that he passed away. Yeah, rest in peace. Another one of our hip hop soldiers fallen. Rest in peace to him and his family. Condolences. Yeah, I did see that. Jack Swagger says the Live Squad. Are you talking about Doo-Wop's Live Squad? Or are we talking about Tupac's Live Squad? Shout out to DJ Doo-Wop. I used to be cool with Unique. Remember the female MC Unique from the Live Squad? She was cool. Yeah, this YouTube glitch or whatever has my government. I don't know what is going on with this. I thought it was just a word because it happened before, but then it fixed itself. I don't know what's going on. Um, Zero Talent says, Kenny, your show with Heather B was a classic hip hop moment. Made me break out my edutainment CD. Wow. Edutainment dropped in 1990. 35 years. Woo, hoo, hoo. I'm usually Views Reviews. Oh, okay. Patrick Sargent says, Truck Turner. I saw Truck Turner this summer. Big up Truck Turner. Um, let's see. Um, oh, look who's back in the building. Wait a minute, let me get a sip for this. Anyway, what's up? How are you today? Um, yeah, sending prayers to Jamaica. They're saying that hurricane um could be so devastating that it would may take years to recover. Although they're always hyping up weather events. Weather events are big news stories, and the news is always hyping up weather events like this is the one. I'm hoping that it's more hype than actual disaster. If you notice, the ones that they say are just okay or Hurricane 3 or this or that, those will be the ones that cause all the damage. I'm hoping that they're hyping this one up and it doesn't do as much damage as they anticipate. But prayers up to Jamaica. Um, no, first, hold on. We can't let that slide. Working on your own music. Give us some news. No, I've been uh, a few months back. I did a SP 1200. I think it's right there. SP 1200. Just putting old discs in the SP 1200. And then what I started doing was cleaning up a lot of old beats and, digitizing them and I've been putting them up on this channel. It's called the Kenny Parker Beat Series. And so I've been going through, I have tons of beats in different stages from different years, back from the 90s into the 2000s, even recent beats. So what I've been doing is kind of like cleaning them up and digitizing them and then putting some up for you guys to check out. And so I haven't been listening to a lot of other music because I want to focus on my music, and then hopefully get some MCs on it for real. JT says, "Big up H Bully and the Notorious Chubby Checker." Yes, if you know, you know. Um, Patrick Sargent says, "Patrick, why? Is it Patrick Sargent? Patrick, no, maybe it's a different Patrick. I don't know." Big up Patrick Y anyway. I'm with you. Versus got misguided. Yeah, it turned into a battle with a winner. Before it was just two groups or two artists, and they'll talk about each other's music. They'll talk about the songs that the other artists made that they used to like. It's more like a showcase. It was more intimate. It was like two old friends getting together, listening to music and doing some karaoke. That's what it seemed like before. Then they took it to arenas, which is dope. Then it became a battle, who won, and it just got crazy. But I mean, people like conflict. It got bigger, I think, with I think it got bigger. The more drama you have, the more audience you bring. Um, I don't know. Uh, it's just not my thing. Jack Swagger says, utmost respect to Rakim. Love the catalog, but I don't think he's built for verses. Well, I mean, verses is in a battle setting. It's now a battle. Uh, I mean, I don't think anyone would disrespect the God, so he could just go up there and do his songs, and everybody be happy to see him. Uh, One was 117 AJ. Hey Kenny, I was watching you when you went live on Instagram a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was a couple weeks, like a week and a half ago. I jumped on Instagram live, um, just uh, just testing the waters, just to see what it was all about. I might do it again this week. Just jump on, maybe tomorrow. Um, and Chuck Chill Out jumped on there. I got to call Chuck Chill Out. That reminds me. Chuck Chill Out jumped on the Instagram Live, the legendary radio DJ. Um, Let me move down a little bit. Move down a little bit. Yeah, I saw Philly Sheet says R.I.P. Poster Boy. Yeah, we spoke about him. Uh, oh, Jack Swagger says I'm talking about Kenny Parker's Live Squad right here. Oh, yeah. We got the Live Squad. Yeah, when you said Live Squad, I'm like, Tupac had a Live Squad. I think Big Stretch was part of that Live Squad. Rest in peace to him. I was cool with Stretch. I used to see him out and about. And like I mentioned, Doo-Wop's Live Squad. Shout out to Doo-Wop. Shout out to Unique Live Squad. Maybe yeah, it was already a Live Squad. We got to come up with a different name. The scientist says, "Hi, Kenny and chat. I hope everything goes well." Why wouldn't it go well? Something might happen. Don't jinx us, the scientist. It's just us. It's all love. It's all good as long as we hear and we're interacting. Everything is going well. Um, Gergen says, "Kenny singing anyway with Chubby Checker so they could squash the beef." That should get me in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My anyway is dope. I should remix it. Imagine doing a remix to anyway. DJ Katie, who's your favorite storyteller other than KRS-One? I love Face Mob. Face Mob. Face Mob. I love the way he tells stories. There are a few guys that's tell me, of course, it's the obvious people like Slick Rick. Biggie's told some good stories. I got a story to tell. Biggie's told some good stories. I really like Scarface because he's very emotional with it. He tells good stories. I'm going with Face Mob as my number one. Anyway, he says it's a category 5. It went further west instead of up the middle as anticipated. That's great news. That is great news. Red Sound says YT is changing to the at handle names to prevent impersonation. Well, that's dope. If there's a reason for it, that's dope because I never understood how a person could come on social media and impersonate somebody else. That has to be the weirdest thing ever to me. There's people with like burner accounts, they are on as somebody else. Like you're living a whole life with thousands of fans, living a whole life as some celebrity. To me that's I just I don't understand it. And impersonating people. And then you always notice that people that impersonate other people always take it to the negative. They always jump on somebody pretending to be somebody else and then say something vile to cause drama. Those people are the worst. There should be crimes against stuff like this. CMC. Once again, you already know. Thank you so much, as usual. Salute, KP. I caught a clip of the 2026 gala of the future grand opening of Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx on my timeline. Have you heard of this mega good news? A clip of the 2026 gala, that means it hasn't happened, of the future grand opening? No, I have not heard the mega good news, but I went with KRS to the site when it's still under construction. We went about 3 years ago. COVID was still going on, maybe 2021. Yeah, I went with Chris to the site. They were still under construction. Um, hopefully, oh, it was supposed to have been open a couple years ago. This museum is actually a couple of years late. Uh, but hopefully it'll open soon. Um, no, I have not heard the mega news. Please elaborate on that. Um, China Doll, what up? David Alston says, "What up, Kenny? A good versus battle would be DJ Jazzy Jeff and Kid Capri, or you and Cool V." Oh wow. Um, Shout out to my brother Cool V. That would I don't know if you have to clear all of the records that gets played, but I think DJ versus would be tough because they would play a lot of records and that'd be a lot of clearance. But forget me, I think Jazzy Jeff and Kid Capri would be awesome. Dre Stack Dollars, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Um, how far behind? And I'm not that far behind, y'all. David Alston says, Kenny, have you ever had to back up a gig or show at the last minute? What do you mean back up? What do you mean back up a gig? I don't understand. I don't understand what you mean by that. Um, let's see. Uh, I'm at the very bottom. Demetrius says, Chicago tapping in the building. Big up to the Shy. Haven't been there in decades. I haven't been to Chicago since probably either the late 90s or early 2000s. Big up to the Shy. So cold. It's probably 0 degrees there already. Um, I'm actually at the very bottom of the chat. This is the first time in a long, long time that I am caught up, which is I want to know I'm gonna get behind in a minute now that I'm talking trash. Um, oh, I know what I wanted to say too. I was watching Neo do an interview. I believe he was talking to Fat Joe and Jadakiss. And he was talking about how when he first signed the Def Jam, and he was talking about how all the executives were taking him out, whining and dining him, taking him all over the place, showing him a really good time. Then he found out that all of the money that was being spent on restaurants and all that whining and dining was coming out of his budget. He had no idea. Another trick that record companies pull. Here, you need something? Here, you need something? They just keep giving it to you. Here, you need something? And you're like, oh, they love me until you get your royalty statements and all the stuff they gave you comes out of your budget, out of your money, at less than $1 a record. I said if I do my rant, I'm gonna hold up my BDP medallion because it's a little short rant, but it made me think of a story. Um, yeah, somebody, John Walker says rant hat. Yeah, one day, me and Heather B, I'm gonna bring up her name again. Me and Heather B, this is back in 92, 93. She was signed to Elektra Records through KRS's Edutainer Records. And we went up there randomly because we wanted to talk to one of the A&R people, I think, or somebody. We went up there randomly. They had no idea we was coming. And so we did a meeting or whatever. And as we left the meeting, we was like, yo, let's go check out our other homeboy who does promotions down the hall. So we went down the hall to check him out, and he was just coming back in, and he had like some vouchers and like receipts and stuff right there on his desk. And he's like, hold on a second. He like went over there and his stuff was on his desk. So I wasn't really peeping on his desk. We just sitting there chilling, but Heather was peeping. And she said, yo, look, look, look. And he had a voucher on his desk that said he had just went to lunch with Heather B. He took artist Heather B out to lunch, and this is how much it cost. And Heather's like, yo, we just came up here randomly. We didn't go out to lunch with him. We just came down to his office just because to walk by. And this dude was putting in a voucher to Elektra Records saying that he took one of the artists out to lunch. Happened to say Heather B today, and it was a lie. And she stepped to him like, yo, what is this? And he's like, yo, I'm just, trying. He said something like that. But it was the scam was these record company people will lie and say that they're taking an artist to dinner or taking an artist to lunch or doing something for artists and getting reimbursed for their money, and really they're lying. Just another scam to add to the scams of these people. And me and Heather was more like, I'm not trying to knock your hustle, but if you say you're taking somebody out to lunch, really take people out to lunch. Like, say if you saying, yo, I'm taking Heather B out to lunch, then call her and take her out to lunch for real. Don't be like, faking you going to lunch with yourself or Lord knows whoever and just, yeah, Heather B. And it's like, but Elektra has, well, back then had dozens of acts. So it could have been Heather today, it could have been Pooh Bah, it could have been Leaders of the New School, it could have been Della Funky Homo Sapien. There's like a whole list of people assigned to Elektra. So every day you taking out a different artist to lunch, and we busted them. We should have ratted on them. But Heather was more like, yo, put me up on the scam. Don't just, put my name in some shit and don't take me out, which was fine. That's Heather's personality to a T. Um, but I just thought about it when I saw Neo talking about how they was taking him to dinner and he thought they was loving him. And in reality, they were taking it back from his budget. All right, that's my rant. It's all bullshit, man. So this whole game is just, and I'm gonna keep on ranting about this because this is something that a lot of people don't know. They really think it's all good, and it's really, really not. Um, DJ Q Storm, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. A regular, much appreciated. Thank you, and thank you. Um, yeah, y'all, it's a lot of bullshit, man. And it's things that you don't even like, you wouldn't even know is going on. That's the whack part. You're not even up on the game. Um, let's see. Jason Wall says H Bully. Yeah, Heather was on some take me out for real. Uh let's see. Fauci says we should bring medallions back. We really should. That'd be a real, like, how they say things go in cycles. Um, that would be real dope. Um, to bring those back. Wait a minute, I just got a text. HB just text me. Let me see. Hold on a second. Oh, just a quick. Heather just texted me. I thought she was on the chat. Thank God she's not. Um, trying to take over. Uh, yeah, but medallions, bringing back medallions would be a really positive thing. Although, people would go away from what they really stand for and put ice, they would ice them out and everything, and it would just be ridiculous. Um, Markeith says rats are taking over downtown Chicago. It's getting worse. Yeah, I remember we talked about rats about 6, 7 months ago, and I was saying New York had the worst, most aggressive rats in the country. And I was looking at a survey, and they had New York at number 2, and they had Chicago at 1. And I'm like, yo, I can't imagine a city with rats worse than New York. Like Chicago, what y'all doing? At least, we got a big subway system. For those that's not familiar with New York, we have a subway system that's over 100 years old that runs through the whole city. So, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that ride it daily. So there's garbage and food and tunnels, and it's like a breeding place for rats. So I can see where rats would have a home in New York. But in Chicago, how y'all number one? I'm mad. I'm not mad. Yeah, I'm mad. New York is number one. How's Chicago number one with rats? I need to see this. Somebody from the Chi, let me know what's going on, man. How y'all number one? Explicit says, damn these scams. Yeah, man, that's a scam you're not even thinking about. Um, but there's bunches of scams. Like you don't even know that there's so much game. Like this is the stuff that we randomly discovered. I've never heard anybody speak about it, but there's mad scams, studio scams. Everything is a kickback, a kickback, a kickback. I remember this one guy, I don't remember his name, but I know he was an A&R at Sony. He lost his job. He had a big job making six figures. I think like 200 or 300 a year plus expense account. And this is in like 2000, 2001. But he got caught double dipping because I think he had a studio. And it was something to the fact of he was having Destiny's Child, they were new, using his studio, which he wasn't supposed to do, and then billing Sony. And he's the A&R at Sony. So it's like a conflict of interest. And he got caught and lost his job. He was working with Destiny's Child. He was an A&R at Sony making hundreds of thousands and lost it all trying to double dip in the studio. And he was getting over too until he got caught. People do some of the stupidest stuff, man. China Doll says, love your transparency. Thank you, Cynthia. Um, Ali, Alif Bell, I can't. Alif Bell, sorry, I can't read it. Taking someone out to lunch or dinner should be out of coolness. Yeah, but someone has to pay for it. And if it's a record company involved, you're going to pay for it. It might be some, you might be able to take an artist out to have a meeting. Like, if you're saying you're having a meeting with an artist and you take them out to eat so y'all could talk about whatever, that's probably in a budget, like a marketing budget, and you can get reimbursed. So they just like, yo, I'm taking out an artist every day. Yo. Jack Swagger said, had to let him slide. I would have made him buy lunch for the next 5 years. We should have. Or else we're telling, Or else we're telling. We should have. Um, let's see. MK Ultra. If you say Heather be named 3 times, she'll appear. Exactly. I said her name, but she just texted me. Um, yo, that's mad funny. She's like the ghost of this channel. Red says, I hate rats. I despise rats. Engage says, I saw a rat the size of a cat when I got off the train. Yo, I saw a whole train of rats one time coming down the platform, coming down the stairs like they were getting on the train over by World Trade Center, Chambers Street. I was on one side and I looked and they were giant ones. They was like coming down like something was chasing them. It was like 10 of them. I was like, yo, you're riding the train at night in New York is crazy with the rats. That's what I'm saying. How could Chicago be number one? Jack Swagger says new versus New York rats versus Chi-Town rats. I would watch that. Somebody from the Chi, let me know how are the rats number one? The newest survey has LA at number one. Just saw that yesterday. Word? LA is number one now? How? There's so much open space where there's no people. Because rats like to be where the people are, because we feed them without dirtiness. Um, LA is number one word. Joey Jones says maybe Chicago isn't having bodega cats to keep the rat population down. Yeah, them cats, for those that don't know, a bodega in New York is a corner grocery store, usually run by a Spanish person, and they call them bodegas. And they have all kind of different stuff that you can get in there. Um, Quick stuff just to take upstairs, milk, bread, eggs, different things you could buy. And they always have cats in there, and the cats just have free reign. They be laying on the bread, laying on the potato chips, just a cat just chilling. And it's just normal. It sounds wild, but it's just normal to go into a bodega and there's a cat just chilling. Like, look out, cat! I gotta get some bread. Um, I remember one time when I was a youth, there was a movie theater on Fulton Street in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, on Fulton Street between Franklin and I can't remember the other street. I'm gonna say Bedford, but it wasn't Bedford, but it's Bedford and Franklin and Fulton Street for those that know Bed-Stuy. And there was a movie theater over there that used to show $2 movies. They had like karate flicks and all kind of old flicks. It was $2. But they used to have mad rats and mice in this movie theater. So what they did was put a bunch of cats in the movie theater. So now we used to go in there, pay our $2 to watch a karate flick, and there's cats all over the place while you watching the movie. Cats climbing on the back of the chairs, going around. And you're like, oh, this is a mess, man. So they got rid of the mice by putting a bunch of cats. Ghetto. Typo says millions ride the train in New York. Yeah, but I'm saying I thought in a given day it was hundreds of thousands per day. It could be at million now. Patrick McLean says I think London might be number one in rats in the world. Um, I'm not sure. I just remember a couple years ago it was Chicago. Los Angeles displaced Chicago as number one rattiest city. That's crazy. How? I want to know how did this happen in LA? They came out of nowhere. Um, let's see. Q Store says make some Kenny Parker show medallions for sale. That would be dope. If people invite, that would be real dope. Um, yes, Markeith Bankroll says R.I.P. Poster Boy. Yes. Um, Heartthrob says, KP, how do you feel about SP12's DSP or audio converter stack up against today's machines? Well, I haven't used any of today's machines. Um, I see the new MPC is out. I really hope someone from the MPC company could be watching this and send me one. I would definitely let everybody know how it compares to the SP1200, which is the only machine I've ever really used. I mean, I've made beats on Pro Tools, piecing things together, but programming on the SP. Uh, and I want to upgrade. Hopefully, some company will decide to sponsor the Kenny Parker show and give me some a machine. I'll definitely do breakdown. You might be the only other person I've ever heard say this. Diamond Assaults. Watching Food of the Gods made me hate rats even more. I couldn't even watch that movie. I am terrified of rats. For those that read my book, please pick up the book. My brother's name is Kenny. The link is in the description below. You will know why I despise them. Um, and that movie, Food of the Gods, an old B movie about rats the size of cars. Yo, this movie was crazy. I'm gonna try to find that and watch it again. It's gonna be tough for me. Uh, but I'm gonna try to do it just because you brought it up. Rod Justice says, I saw so many rats running through a field that it looked like water. Word? I had a friend who was a cab driver who was he was like a special forces in Vietnam. And he said they used to sleep in the jungle in Vietnam. And he said there'd be a point at night where the rats would come like waves. And he said what you had to do was cover yourself in some kind of like, I guess like a sleeping bag. And all the soldiers would cover themselves completely, like zip themselves into the sleeping bag. And they said you could feel the rats running over you in the sleeping bag because they're like making a trip from one point to the next. So I guess it's hundreds of them. And they run big jungle rats running over you, and you're in your sleeping bag and you could feel this. And he said you had to cover yourself from head to toe because if any part of your body was exposed, they would bite you. So you had to do this. I was like, yo, y'all was out there bugging. But it's the same guy. He told me he used to be the one to climb into the into the holes, the booby trap holes. He used to climb into the holes and have one-on-one fights with Viet Cong in the holes. He was a special forces. And he was a cab driver later on. This is like 2006 or 7. He was telling me this, telling me stories about being special forces in Vietnam. When he said that about the rats, I was going like, yo, I'd have needed a discharge after that. That'd have been the end for me. CMC says rats going through the turnstiles is crazy. Um, yeah, man. BR Valentine, what's up? Says bodegas in Philly, we call them poppy stores. Poppy stores. I could see that catching on in New York, like before bodegas. Like when I was a kid, we didn't call it bodegas. I don't know what we used to call it, just the Spanish stores. It used to be just a corner store. And somehow the word bodega came into my vocabulary, and it's like everybody knows what a bodega is. Um, Jack Swagger says Bodega Cat is part owner. Yeah, the Bodega Cat be posted, and they're not scared either. Like you get right up on them, they don't run. They just be like, "Yo, I'm here." You like, "Yo, I'm trying to get a Twinkie. Move over." um, Buford Jones says the shy rats are huge and bold. Me and some friends were out and saw one. We threw a brick at it. It snapped. It stopped digging in the trash and stared at us. We broke out. Yeah, good decision. Yeah, Bruce reviews. Yeah, man. You throw something at a rat and he stopped and be like, yo, what you doing? It's time to go. Oh man, that is so funny. Emma, what's up? Says Toronto has some rats, but they're nice. They act like mice, all polite and stuff. Explicit to Emma, they are rude as hell. Oh, that's funny. John Walker said Vlad keeps the biggest rats on his show. No, Vlad just sets you up you get comfortable and just start talking. There's people who have gotten themselves in trouble on Vlad TV. Crazy. I've never met Vlad, by the way. Deacon Strange, yo, Kenny, long time back in effect. Peace. Where you been? Yeah, engage VR. MPC, hook Kenny up, please. If anybody knows who works at the MPC, they're giving some out. I seen they gave one out to a content creator. They gave one to Teddy Riley, of course. Um, But yeah, I've done a lot of SP1200 work. Can I get one so I can upgrade so I can tell everybody how great the MPC is or whack? I would never say it's whack MPC. Never. I'm gonna edit that out. Oh man. Uh, Getmo says Kwame was on Drink Champs the day after the Friday show and said he just ran into DJ Red Alert and asked him about the apartment full of albums biking as it breaking the floors, and he confirmed it. Yeah, we talked about this last Friday. Somebody asked me who did I hear had the biggest record collection, and I said I believe Red Alert has the biggest record collection, or Africa Bambaataa. I heard his shit is crazy too, but Red Alert has been getting 2 and 3 copies of every record since 1983. Could you imagine that? Remember, I was looking for the Jungle Brothers, Black is Black, because it had promo number 1 and it had In Time. That's one of my favorite Jungle Brothers songs. And found out later on that Q-Tip did that beat. And Q-Tip was dope on that record, and I could not find a record. It was out of print. This is in the early 2000s. And called Red. I was like, Red, I'm trying to find this Jungle Brothers record. And he said, I got you. And he brought me a sealed copy, which I still have. But yeah, Red Alert's record collection is ridiculous. Engaged because rats and pigeons aren't scared no more. New York pigeons aren't scared of people at all. Like zero fear. Um, Yo, Diamond says, Kenny, the movie theater you're talking about on Fulton Street is in Bedford Avenue is the Regent. Yes. Yes, yes, Diamond Assaults, the Regent. It was mad rats in there. I remember that. Yes, the Regent. It was mad old. And they had $2 for a movie where they put mad cats in there. The Regent on Fulton Street. Big up Bed-Stuy. Rich Sound says, what do y'all think about Wemby balling skills? I mentioned this last week that I changed Wemby's game. I mentioned Wemby watches this channel. Let me tell you why. I was just talking a couple weeks ago about how I don't like Wemby's game because I don't understand a 7'5" guy shooting 3-pointers. I can't fathom it. Um, he's great. I know this is today's era, but and I said that I was watching like a little story on him, and they were saying when he was growing up, his coaches begged him to get closer to the basket. And they were saying that every foot that you move away from the basket takes away from your height advantage. And he refused. He says he wanted to be known as an all-around ball player. He did not want to be just a big man. And so he wanted to be a guard in a 7'5" body. And he's been pretty good the past couple of years. Good, all-star level. But I believe after I said that, Wemby, for some reason this year, he's only taking like 2 or 3 3-pointers a game. He is going to the rim. Wemby is going to the hole now. And now he's an MVP candidate. If Wemby decides to attack the rim like Giannis does, there's no one that could stop him. Depending on their wins, he could be MVP if he takes it to the rim. But if he wants to stand outside and shoot 30-footers, I don't think that's maximizing his skill. But after I said it on this channel, he changed his game. So I'm going to go out on a limb right now, y'all, and say that Wemby saw me say it, I convinced him, and he changed his game. Now, I know y'all going to say I'm out of my mind, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. David Alston, Kenny, has BDP ever done any college homecoming shows? Yeah, but not none of the big ones. I don't remember doing like Howard Homecoming or anything like that. But we've done different homecomings over the years. And well, dope show we did was the Penn Relays. Y'all remember Penn State, the Penn Relays? We did a show, we did a Penn Relays, I think it was in 97. It was KRS and Redman. We did the Penn Relays. That was off the hook. And I think we did like Morgan State homecoming. We did like Coppin State in Baltimore. We never did Howard homecoming, not in my time. But we did so many shows we could have. Jason Wall says they were called tunnel rats, actually, who crawled into the holes. Yes, the guys from Vietnam, tunnel rats. My friend was telling me that the first time he went into one of the tunnels, he actually got into a close up. Man, they're in the tunnel, a close up gunfight with a Viet Cong. And he said he bust his gun. I'm gonna get flagged for saying that. He bust off. He bust off. He bust off in the hole in Vietnam, and he said it blew his eardrums out. And he said even to this day he has hard of hearing in one ear because he shot in the hole. So he said after that he started climbing in the hole with just a knife, and so he would have hand to hand combat in the tunnels with a knife. I'm like, yo, you are crazy, bro. And he was telling me this craziness. And now he's just um driving a cab. This was I don't know what he's doing now. This was like 20 years ago. 20 years ago. He was just driving a cab, regular dude. Dude like that should never have to work ever again. Gage said rats be behaving like gangs in New York. Yeah, they do. Rosmel says, I lived in 4 rat-infested apartments and 1 rat-infested house in Jamaica, Queens. Oh my God. When you say rat, are you talking about mice? Or are you talking about rat-infested? I hate them all, but rat-infested is move. You got to move. Deacon Strange says, Baltimore rats are legendarily unafraid. Red says Vlad the Fed. That's what people say. Vlad always says he's not the Fed. People just come on there, but he does ask questions that will be considered out of bounds. Like some of the questions Vlad asks people, if you were on the street and he asked you that, you would pat him down and see if he had a wire on. The dudes answer him. It's crazy. Jeffrey Losu said most people's mouths dig their own grave. Yeah, man. People forget about statutes of limitations, and even the guy who's locked up for the Tupac situation. The only reason he's locked up right now is because he told the whole story about how he was in the car, and he thought he had immunity in Los Angeles, but they picked him up in Vegas. He should have never spoken about that ever again, but I guess he felt everybody else in the car is gone and he has immunity, and here's a chance to get his 15 minutes of fame. And dude starts talking about what happened in the car, and now he's hemmed up. Loving Life says, Kenny, what album are you looking forward to in hip hop in 2026? I'm not looking forward to anything. Um, I'm interested, the premiere and Nas, very interested to see how that's going to turn out. Very, 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 very interested. That. And De La Soul, of course, y'all know I'm a huge Native Tongue fan. De La Soul's new album. Those are 2 that I'm looking forward to the most. Mm. Let's see. Rich Sound says, I remember seeing a rattlesnake for the first time while hiking. It's wild how people can just pick one up. I agree with that too. I agree with that too. Icon Paul said, if Vlad is a Fed, he'd only be doing good job. Y'all act like y'all want criminals to walk free. What the hell? Um, I do not want criminals to walk free. But at the same time, I'm from an environment where certain things, certain hustles, we don't tell on each other about certain hustles. And if you choose to tell on yourself, that is even self-defeating. Like, why would you tell on yourself and cause yourself to get jail time? Um, I have a lot of mixed emotions about that whole no snitching thing. I'm not going to get into it today, but I have a whole thing about it. But I say that some things I'm not ratting anybody out on. I don't want criminals to walk free, but at the same time, there's some things that I wouldn't say, and there's some things that I would definitely would. I don't think he's doing a good job by bringing people on his show and convincing them to get themselves locked up. I don't know about that. Um, I mean, what's crazy is the feds be subpoenaing his tapes, and they be holding it against people. It's crazy. Q Unique TV says, "What's a beat you produced that might people might not know you did?" I always talk all the time on this channel. I co-produced Black Cop with KRS-One. I'm uncredited on that. That's a KRS record for sure. I could tell y'all a story about how I got jerked for a credit if y'all want to hear it. I might have to put my rant chain on. Deacon String says DJ Spinner's record collection is nuts. Shout out to my brother, DJ Spinner. That's my dude for life. Shout out Spinner. Kenny Dope's record collection is ungodly. Biz's record collection was ridiculous. And not only did Biz have a lot of records, but he had a lot of choice pieces. But I'm gonna still go with Red Alert. He got every single record for free in the mail. Every rap record, every R&B, every record that anyone ever made sent to him. 2 copies. That's ridiculous. Jack Swagger says Wemby is part of the Rewind crew. That's right. Wemby is big up Wemby. Big up to the Rewind crew. Big up Wemby for taking it to the hole and becoming an MVP candidate, like I called it. Jason Wall says Wemby dribbling behind the back, leading fast breaks. Yeah, his talent level is ridiculous, but still, he's as talented as most small forwards in the league. But because he takes himself away from the basket, he becomes like, say, Siakam from Indiana. When he's 25 feet from the basket, shooting threes and handling and doing that, he's Siakam. When he decides to take it to the rim, he's Giannis. That's how I see him. And I love Siakam, by the way. Gregory Ness says Kenny is drinking E&J in that red cup to say that he's the one who changed Wemby game. Wemby, watch this channel. Y'all understand, Gregory Nettis, you should know I was just talking about Wemby 2 weeks ago, and I was saying I don't really care for all of the threes that they shoot in the NBA. And I was talking about Wemby at the beginning of the season. I was like, this dude shoots a lot of threes. He's 7'5". And boom, there's no E&J in my cup. Spook Realm says, wonder how Vlad gets more cats to spill tea than Drink Champs. I think because Drink Champs knows not to go there in certain things. They just don't even go there. There's certain things they wouldn't even ask. Like a real dude is not going to ask a real dude certain things. You already know. Don't even go there like that. Vlad, on the other hand, he'll just go there as like more of like a journalist. He'll just go there, not being. I'm not gonna say not being part of the culture, but I'm gonna use that. I don't know. I don't want to be derogatory towards him. I don't think he grew up in the culture that we grew up in, so he has no problems asking questions that I think a Nori wouldn't ask. And then dudes be comfortable enough and just be like, blah, and just telling on themselves. Crazy. Ah, Rod Justice, that's right. You know, Victor Wemby trained with Hakeem Olajuwon over the summer. That's right. My Probably my favorite center of all time. Um, or Wilt Chamberlain is my favorite, probably my second favorite. That's right. And Dream probably told him, yo, because remember when Kobe worked out with Dream over the summer and came back ridiculous, posted up in that triangle? Yeah, Wemby worked out with the Dream. I'm gonna say working out with the Dream and watching this channel has made him an MVP candidate. Pet Relays at Philly was a great event. Yeah, Sydney Rose. I only went to one, the one that we did in '97. Um, Buford says pause. Yeah, I said a couple of pausable comments. B-Boy Jones says, what's up, Kenny? A little late joining today. Better late than never. Big up to the Rewind crew. Please hit the like button if you guys are watching. Please hit the like button. It helps. It really helps. Let's see. I'm not that far behind. Oh. Explicit says, imagine when you think your dog is your rat. You wake up in the morning and are too tired to know the difference. That's how big they were? That's crazy. Jamil Love, did you hear about the NBA scandal with illegal gambling cheating? Yeah, we talked about that in depth uh, last week. Markeith says Keefe D put out a book about that. Yeah. Um, there's no statute of limitations for that kind of crime. And I believe he thought he was good in Los Angeles. Then he went to Vegas. And then they find like the car they were looking for. They couldn't find this car. Then they find it in like his backyard or something crazy. Keefe D. Bebo Jones says rap snitches telling all their business, go into court and be their own star witness. Yeah. And they play your lyrics in court. They play your lyrics, dude, especially a lot of these drill rappers. What makes drill rap appealing is that they're talking about real crimes in their songs, real crimes that people in their hood know actually happen. And that's what makes them the realest. But at the same time, you're also telling, so when they take this lyric to court and your lawyer tries to say, oh, it's just entertainment, but they're saying, no, your lyrics actually match up to the evidence. It's crazy. Henry Sedillo says Keefe D is ignorant for that. He probably got a big record deal, a big book deal, hopefully. And I don't know if he talked to a lawyer who gave him some bad information or something, but he thought he was immune. He put all the blame on the people who have already passed, But if you're in that car, you are part of the story. Icon says the reason Keefe D is in jail is because he blanked Pac, period. He was in the car. If you're in that car, all four people in that car are equal. Explicit, weird question, Kenny. Can you swim or skate? Neither. I can't swim at all. I can skateboard. I know how to ride a skateboard, but I remember when I was about 6 or 7 years old, my mother bought a pair of skates for me and Chris to share. Remember the skates that had the key? When you turn the back of the key, of course you lose the key and could never adjust the skates ever again. But she bought a pair of skates for us or got them from somebody, I don't know where. And this is when we lived next door to Cool Herc too. And I couldn't, we never learned how to skate. So what we did was I took one skate and Chris took the other skate, and we would skate with one foot like a skateboard. So we had skates skating on one foot. Real ignorance. Oh, those were the days, man. David also, Kenny was Lakim Shabazz part of the flavor unit. Absolutely. Shout out to my brother Lakim Shabazz. I saw him a few years ago. Explicit. Kenny, DJ Kenny, how should we handle bad cops, corrupt cops? What needs to change? Well, what needs to change is the blue wall of silence. The same way the streets have no snitching, the police have no snitching. And so the police, a fellow officer can see another officer breaking the law and he won't tell because of the blue code of silence. That is wrong, but that's their culture. What needs to change is there should be special charges for a corrupt cop on top of whatever crime you did. Because a police officer takes an oath to the state to uphold the law. And because of the oath and training that's given to a police officer, they are allowed to carry lethal weapons that the average person cannot carry. They are sanctioned by the state to carry a deadly weapon with them and can use force as deemed necessary. When you have that kind of responsibility and you take an oath and you are trained and you violate that oath, I think there should be an extra charge. Like you should be charged for whatever crime you did. Then it should be like they call it aggravated circumstances. I think the aggravated part should be because you're a police officer or officer of the law, it's aggravated, which should add years to your crime. That's what I think should happen to corrupt cops. And what needs to change is the blue wall of silence, my opinion. Floetry, this is interesting. The Art of Dialogue interviews stir up the most conflict to get clicks. I think someone got hurt in some violent stuff over their interview style. First of all, big up Art of Dialogue. I've seen that channel grow to be huge. He's done a great job. Um, but yeah, I could see where he needles, not needles. He directs questions in a certain way, and sometimes if you answer a question and you start to go in a direction, he'll say, "Wait a minute, but let's go back and get on this topic and try to get an answer." And a lot of artists are not, including myself, are not media savvy. There's no media training like they used to have back in the Motown days with Berry Gordy and all them. You wouldn't catch them slipping at all because they're trained to answer every question. Most artists today have no training, so you just And we're in a culture of I got no filter. I got no filter. I think that is not a compliment. When somebody says I got no filter, I don't think that's a good thing. Sometimes you need a filter. But we're in a culture of no filter and no media training. So you got guys, a lot of them from the street, who just be talking. And the reason why I say myself is because sometimes I have to monitor what I say on this channel to avoid snitching and to avoid telling someone else's story without them being able to say their piece. I'm gonna shout out my good friend Jetta from Jersey City. He's always getting on me about snitching. Yo, KP, there's a couple of epic fails that I wanted to tell, and I ran it past him, and he was like, "You can't say that because there could be ramifications from you telling that story." And there's a couple of dope stories that I have that he talked me out of telling because there could be street ramifications, and he is correct. Um, and then I did the epic fails where I told you guys some things that I saw, but I didn't tell you who it was. I just did a mystery brawls. And they didn't really do that well on this channel. People was like, if you're not going to tell who it was, then you shouldn't tell the story at all, which I disagree. I think there's some great stuff that I saw. I just can't tell you who it was. Um, but yeah, if someone got hurt over an interview, I could see that happening. Hopefully, I've had some beef on this channel with some of the things that I've said. Um, Not really beefs, but some artists have tried to come back and say something. I'm not worried about them, but I've had some dialogue with some people who didn't like some of the stuff that I said, which I stand by every single thing I've ever said on this channel. I will stand by it and I will take it to my grave that everything I've said on this channel is as truthful as I can remember. But some people will try to say I didn't tell the truth or it didn't happen like that. They are lying. I'm ranting again. Where's my going off in a truth rant? Let me reel myself back in. But yeah, I hope somebody getting hurt off an interview. I could see it happening. I didn't know that happened, but I could see it. Um, Orrin Hamilton, what's up? Um, Icon posed this question. I heard Biz had a huge karate tape collection too. Yeah, I've heard him mention it. Biz was a big collector of like toy stuff. He had like all kind of video games, but like the real video games that be in the store, like you put money in. Like a whole big game. Like he had Miss Pac-Man and like Donkey Kong, like big. I don't know if Donkey Kong was a game, actual game, but whatever the big popular games were, Biz had them in his basement. I remember back when he used to live in Newark. I used to go by his crib, and in his basement, he had real games with quarters you put money in. He had mad old sneakers like Pro Kids and stuff. He used to collect dolls and records, of course. So he probably had a huge karate tape collection too. I've never seen it, but I've heard him talk about it. Ilroy says Wemby owes you an NPC for that. That's right, Wemby. Wemby, pick me up an NPC, man. Gregory Netta says Wemby is Sean Bradley remixes. Oh, that's disrespectful. Gregory Netta, don't disrespect. Rest in peace to Sean Bradley. I think he passed. Or was it Mark Eaton who passed? It was Mark Eaton. Sean Bradley was the poster boy. He's been in more posters than anybody in NBA history. Um, I'm not going to put Wemby in the Sean Bradley conversation. Um, let's see. Um, Jason Wall says when Vlad got challenged, he tried to get that black woman professor fired. I remember that. Vlad has a very controversial history. I don't know Vlad, never been on his show. He's made millions in the hip hop culture, literally millions. So his business is on point, and a lot of people go on his show. It's a huge platform. I mean, if maybe I would go on his show one day. I don't know. He's never called me though. Um, but he has some questionable things in his past. Spook Realm says, my point is people should know to shut their brakes. On Drink Champs, they drink. They get drunk and still don't be telling. But Nori, I think Nori doesn't ask questions like that. Nori would never say, were you on the scene of a crime? He would never ask a question something like that. Um, let's see. I have fallen behind. What is this, Markeith? Paul Pierce is facing multiple criminal charges after that arrest in LA. What arrest? Paul Pierce got arrested? Let's Get Bread 500 said, what's the breakdown on the Black Cop production? Who did what? Join this fire. I think I've spoken about this. Did I speak about this on this channel? I could tell y'all a quick breakdown. If y'all want to hear the breakdown of that song, I could tell you. I'm gonna scroll down. If y'all want to hear the breakdown, I will tell you the quick breakdown. Um, B-Boy Jones says, I thought you can't profit off your crimes. I think if you're convicted of a crime, you can't profit off your crimes. But Keefe D was not even convicted of anything. Well, I mean, he's been convicted of crimes in the past. He wasn't convicted of the Tupac thing, and I think he had immunity. Um, Let me scroll down a little bit. Um, Spook Realm says, facts, DJ KP. They take their brotherhood to that level, as it is known now. Law enforcement are in their own game. They really are. And they should be held to a higher standard than the average citizen. Higher standard, not lower. Silk Chart, you were put here to protect us, but who protects us from you? One of the great KRS album cuts that just get lost in his catalog. Just some thought-provoking thing that Chris said back in '89, and it still rings true. Still rings true. Patrick says Jalen Brunson is having a game tonight. Oh, didn't they just play? That was 2 days ago. Brunson is the real deal, by the way, y'all. Brunson is the real deal. Um, let's see. Jason Wall says the UMC guy didn't like what you said. Not at all. I stand by what I said. Ilroy, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Says Wemby owes you a new NPC for that coaching you gave him, Kenny. Yes. Absolutely. Take it to the hole, Wemby. You could shoot a three here and there in a situation, but his handle is good enough. And you ever see these long steps he takes? Yo, there's nobody that could stop him. Nobody. I don't know. Ah, Rasul says Sean Bradley is paralyzed. Word? Oh, that's crazy. KB Play says I did business with Vlad and I have receipts. Let's just say I wasn't really pro Vlad afterwards. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the guy at all. I don't know the guy at all. Yeah, Rosmel says Vlad be offering these people $10,000 for just an hour of their time, and that's very tempting. Yeah, it is. That's very tempting. But you got to come with something juicy though. Um, yeah, 10,000 to tell a story, and you're putting your name out there. It's dope. But there's certain questions that there's certain things you just can't go there. You just can't go there. The people be bragging about crimes, man. And feds be right there just waiting. Jason Wall says that's the son of Sam law. Yeah, that you can't profit off of your crimes that you committed for, I guess. First person, Paul Pierce just got a bunch of charges. Word? I have not seen this. I love Paul Pierce as a player. The Green Talent says it's a movie called Rats, KP. It came out in 1984, I believe. I suggest you check it out. I don't know if I got the stomach, but yeah. Oh, man. Biz had a good shoe collection too. Yeah, he used to have British Walkers and all kind of old shoes. Kenny, Lord Jamar is a hypocrite. He told black people not to support Vlad. Now he runs back to Vlad. I see why Sadat don't F with him. Well, I don't know if Sadat, I don't know what that story is. We need to get Sadat back on the channel. I'm gonna hit up Sadat. We need to bring Sadat back and talk some basketball. Um, big up to Sadat. He's been on this channel twice. A great guest. Um, and I did Lord Jamar's show about 3 years ago. Um, I don't know what the story is, why he went back to Vlad. I have no idea. I remember him saying that black people should not support Vlad. I remember that. And then he went back. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Rick says, I'll take Greek Freak over Wemby any day, though. As it stands right now, but if 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 uh if Wemby is going in that direction, how old is Wemby? 22, 21? Ilroy, thank you so much for your contribution. Oh, did I see this? He says Wemby owes. Oh, I already saw that. Yeah. CMC, thank you. Preem and Alchemist use the floppy disk to add to their production. What advantages does it have? I don't think it has any advantages because they get corrupt too fast. You know how many beats I've lost because the disk is corrupt? Just going through beats right now, old disc, floppy disks that I had on SB1200, there's probably at least 12 beats that are gone just because the disk is corrupt and I can't get the beat back. It's gone. Um, they use a floppy disk, I guess, with the machines that they used at the time. But I think today's machines, I don't know because I don't have one, but I would imagine today's machines have more storage. And the good thing about a floppy disk is you can and take it to another machine and use it. That's the good part. I remember I had a couple of beats that I wanted Chris to use, or Chris wanted from me. I remember giving him the floppy disk because and he just took it and went to the studio. I didn't even have to be there. Once he stuck it in the S1200 and hit play, everything was there. So that's an advantage. It used to be portable, but now with disk drives and AirDrop and all of this stuff, even that's outdated. I've never met Alchemist, not to my knowledge. Um, let's see. I think I'm at the bottom. I am. And it's 9:30. Um, we are going into OT. I'm gonna do a little bit of OT. I'm gonna jump off because now y'all got me gassed over Brunson. I want to see this second half. Uh Sydney Rose says Vlad disrespected the minister, wouldn't apologize. Ah, that's what it was about. So I remember that. So how did they get past that? Sweet Goldilocks, what's up? Says Vlad apologized for what he said about the minister. Oh, he apologized. Is that why him and Jamal are back? I don't know. Cutie Pie, what's up? So sorry I'm late. Yes. Explicit says Jamal isn't always perfect, but he does speak his mind. He does. Rosmel says, I think Vlad offered Jamal a huge bag. Maybe. Once again, I don't know. Emma says, Lord Jamal is trying too hard. It's not a good look. I don't know, man. I don't know. Explicit says, Emma, we can always ignore them and not mention them ever. AKA is worse than Jamal dissing Biggie is a sin. I don't know if I don't remember him dissing Biggie, but for what reason? I was gonna say, like, what reason do you have to diss Big? Did he do something to you? I don't know, man. I don't this media game and this social media and these clicks and likes is like a drug. And the fame that you can get, which like there's artists on social media that would be considered that would have never been heard from again, let's say, that have now got a whole second life on social media. I'm gonna throw myself in there too. Y'all may or may not have ever heard from me again. Um, but with this social media, you can be back in the mix in a big way and make money and have endorsements and all kind of things just by being controversial. And it's addicting to be back big again. Because you gotta understand there's gaps. Like there's people who were huge in like the 90s, and then for the past 2 decades, nobody has heard from you, and then all of a sudden you're back in a big way. I don't know if it's bringing out the best in people. In some ways, I think it's bringing out the worst. Um, Q Storm says Jay-Z said no rapper can do a verses because no one is on his level. There's not a chance anyone could stand on stage with me. I've said this before. The way verses is set up with the rules that it's set up, I don't think anyone could compete with Jay-Z, not one single person. Maybe a Eminem or because the way it's set up is the rules are you have what 20 songs to do? 20 songs. You can bring out anyone who you've done a song with, but they have to do that song. But you could bring out anyone who you've done a song with, and you could bring out anyone who has sampled you in a rhyme, in a song. You could bring them out. By those rules, I think Jay-Z is probably unbeatable. We've mentioned this on this channel. The amount of people that he could bring out on stage, forget his own songs. He could do 20 songs of big stars that he's done songs with, and nobody could compete with that. I don't think there's any living rapper who 50 would be 50 has a lot of records, maybe. He hasn't done a lot of records with people like that. Kanye versus Jay would be nice. He's done a lot of production, because if you did production, if you produced a track, you could bring that person out. Kanye's production mixed with his catalog, I think he could stand on the stage with Jay. I don't know if he'll beat him, but I think he could stand on the stage with him. But the way the rules are set up is very hard to It'd be very hard to beat Jay-Z. Um, let's see. We're in OT, y'all. I'm gonna go a little while longer. Busta Rhymes could battle Jay-Z. I don't think Busta could battle Jay-Z. Missy did a lot of songs, a lot of people maybe, but I don't know. Gregory Netta says Nas will ether Jay-Z again. Nas hasn't done a lot of collabs like Jay. You got to imagine an audience, and you got to imagine this dude bringing out Beyonce and Alicia Keys and Pharrell and Kanye and Eminem, and just the list just goes. You just can't imagine the amount of people. Dude could put a screen down and bring out Michael Jackson in it. It's just ridiculous. That's just my opinion. Carrie Vine says Jay-Z have no crowd energy. It wouldn't matter in a versus when Beyonce comes out. what, what are you gonna say, man? And him and Kanye come out and do their hits. It's just Kenny overlooks in Busta's hits and collabs. He's fine. Everything Jay has done. Busta can go toe to toe with Jay. I don't see it. I think Busta's great. The way it's set up, I just don't see it. That's just my opinion. Hip hop doesn't like Beyonce. Really? In a versus, Jay-Z is gonna be in an arena. When KRS and Kane did the verses, it was at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. That's a major arena, and it was sold out. It was people all the way up to the top. So you got to imagine 18,000 people in an arena. You're gonna tell me they're not gonna go crazy when Beyonce come out? I think you're underestimating just how big these people are. If there's any women there, it's gonna be pandemonium. Ja Rule would beat Jay-Z. All right, Gregory Nevis, man. What is Beyonce has no classics but hits. To you, I don't know, man. B-Boy Jones says Nas got Mary and Lauren. That is true. Lauren Hill coming out would be a big deal. Jay-Z got Mary too, so Mary would have to stay there and rock with Nas and then do a huge Can't Knock the Hustle with Jay-Z. Lauren coming out would be a big deal. That would be a big deal. But Jay got people that we're not even thinking about that he's done records with, big records. That dude could probably get a furlough for R. Kelly to come out for one night. It'd be crazy if he could bring everybody. There's nothing you could do, man. Um, I saw somebody just ask a question. I lost it. I'm gonna answer this real quick. Kenny, what's the difference between publishing and royalties when it comes to music? Well, real quick, publishing is every time your song gets played on the radio, on television, in a movie, at a basketball game, anywhere with a jukebox, anywhere where your song gets played, the person who plays your song has to pay. It's usually like a 25 cents or 10 cents or something like that. That is publishing. That goes to the writers. Whoever did the music, whoever wrote the lyrics. Royalties is how many records you sold, which is different. They're paying you a rate per record. And like we mentioned on this channel, the royalty rates are horrible, close to slavery, sharecropper rates. But you get paid for each record you sell. That is a royalty. Now it gets deeper than that, but that's just the basic breakdown. Publishing is the people who wrote the songs get paid every time it's played, and royalties is how many times the record gets sold. That's a different check, a separate check. All right, y'all, I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and then Gregory Ness says 50 Cent, Kenny, he would best Jay-Z. I don't know if he would beat Jay-Z, but I think um, he would be a good, like, formidable opponent. B.R. Valentine said, how did the Locks win without bringing out anyone? Still about the performance, in my opinion. For that particular one, did Dipset bring out anybody? For that particular one, it seemed like it came down to performance. But you have to be in order to beat Jay-Z, you'd have to be an incredible performer. How many incredible performers there are with a catalog that could beat him? I don't think there's anybody in rap. That's just my opinion. I think Eminem, but he didn't did a lot of features, but he has a lot of big records. You got to have big arena record. Scientific says the best of both worlds. That's funny. Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, but I'm just saying, if he came out and says after the show, it's the after party, Fiesta. You know what Fiesta would do in an arena with a bunch of girls in there? So I'm trying to tell you. Jay-Z got that record with Maya, Best of Me. Them kind of records they're not big to classic hip hop heads, but in an arena with 20,000 people, it would be real crazy. Lil Wayne would be big. Drake actually, Wayne or Drake? I'm gonna go Drake because he has more features. Drake may be able to beat Jay-Z because he has a lot of songs, and he could bring out Wayne, and they got a bunch of songs. He could bring out Nicki. He could bring out Rihanna. Jay got Rihanna too, but he got more songs with Rihanna. Drake has done a lot of songs with a lot of big artists. He could just, I mean, none of them really rock with him right now anymore, but he could have brought out like Rick Ross and Kendrick and all of these people. He could have been. Drake is a problem too in that format. Boyz II Men versus Jodeci would be dope. All right, I'm at the very bottom. Sweet Goldilocks says Drake got a Beyonce song too. He does? Was it a big? I don't know if it was big though. It ain't gonna be like Crazy in Love and them kind of records, but yeah. Original CMC says Drake beating Jay-Z. I don't know about that. It depends on the audience. And I'm trying to explain to y'all the rules. See the rules. If it was just Jay-Z and just somebody else, it'd be different. Even though Jay-Z has a lot of records, but it's the rules. Somebody just said Jay-Z could bring out Linkin Park. Yeah, he could bring out Joey Joe. The fact that Jay-Z wrote 2 songs for Dr. Dre, all he got to do is bring out Dre and Snoop. It's just that's what I'm trying to say, man. Marquise says Drake earned 10 times platinum. That's diamond for the motto featuring Lil Wayne. Yeah, yeah, man. Um, all right, I'm gonna jump off. I'm gonna try to catch some of this Nick game. Um, thank you guys so much for checking me out. This is the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big up to the Rewind crew. Please hit the like button. And this is show number 121, which means I think 119 of them have been in a row on Tuesday. We are killing it. And all the people that's been down since the beginning, I love you guys. We're coming in on Friday, God willing. Please be healthy. Um, Health is everything. Um, I got a doctor's appointment. I got a physical on Friday, by the way. So I'm gonna do that before I see you guys. All right, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys, God willing, on Friday. Peace.